Work harder on yourself than you do on your job. If you work hard on your job, you can make a living. If you work hard on yourself, you can make a fortune. Again, work harder on yourself than you do on your job. If you work hard on your job, you can make a living. If you work hard on yourself, you can make a fortune. Jim Rohn, y'all. By the great Jim Rohn. MJ the Mastermind, checking back in, y'all. Man, I hope y'all have been amazing. Much love, much peace, much gratitude. And we're going to jump right into it, man. You know, we always say the quote 3 times. There's a reason behind that. Work harder on yourself than you do on your job. If you work hard on your job, you can make a living. If you work hard on yourself, you can make a fortune. It's very, very easy to get caught up in just working a job. It's what society has taught us. It's what we've been pretty much trained and conditioned to do, is work a job. And, you know, they call it the rat race, right? And there's a reason why they call it that. It's a trap. It's a trap, right? Now, a lot of people work a 9 to 5, and they do it for many years. What has society taught us? Society has taught us to go to school, get debt, come out of school with debt, get a job, buy a house, get more debt, and then, you know, spend life pretty much continuing the cycle of the job, paying bills, and pretty much living that rat race, right? That's what society has taught us, okay? So it's very, very easy to slip into that level of programming, okay? Now, when Jim Rohn says work harder on yourself than you do on your job, it's because the level of return on investment will always be better working on yourself than it is working at a job, okay? It's funny. I was talking to somebody today, and they had got news that their job said that their income was capped, and they were no longer bringing people up to upper levels of management, and not even keeping up with the rate of inflation, y'all, right? Like, she was no longer going to be getting a pay raise anymore, and she was no longer able to get a promotion, right? And this is something that happens to a lot of people, where eventually you just get capped out, you know, working a job, right? You get capped out working a job. Now, this video is not to bash people with jobs at all, right? It's just to offer a perspective. I've worked many jobs. Well, not many. I've worked a couple of jobs in the past. Now, the level of return on investment that you get from building the right habits, from becoming more disciplined, from developing a better mindset, from developing skills, right? Now, you can develop skills in some jobs. You can. So, you know, you can. And that's a great case of leveraging a job, right? So, like, for me, for those that don't know, you know, I went to school. I got a degree in engineering. I actually went through this, you know, the same thing that society taught us. Went to school, got a degree in computer engineering, got a job, worked in corporate America. And I did it for 4 years, right? I did it for 4 years before I decided to, was it 4 years? 6 years, sorry. 6 years in corporate America. I did it for 6 years before I decided to leave that world. And it wasn't until I really started to invest in my personal development, when I really started to work on myself, when I started to read hundreds of books, when I started to get into entrepreneurship and business, and becoming a member of YouTube University, right? That I really started to see more returns on my life, right? When I started to investing into personal development and developing skills. That's when everything started to change and everything started to shift. Y'all. Now, a job pays you for the value of the position. Life pays you for the value of the person. A job pays you for the value of the position. Life pays you for the value of the person. There's only so much that you can get from a certain job or a certain position, right? And it may be enough to where you are actually happy and satisfied, and that's perfectly fine, right? That's perfectly fine. But how many people do we know with successful careers and a lack of fulfillment, right? A lack of purpose, a lack of clarity in their lives overall. So in certain instances, you can do both, right? You can work on a job and you can work on yourself, right? But the value is always in working on yourself, right? Even working on yourself puts you in a better position to get a better job, right? So never forget about personal development, y'all. Personal development should always be a part of who you are. You're part of your routine, a part of just your natural progression of life. Like, it should just be a part of who you are, right? So don't ever let life take away personal development time, right? Don't ever let life get in the way of you being healthy and exercising and living an active life and working out. Don't ever let life get in between of building and cultivating the relationships that mean most to you in your life, because that's still personal development. Don't ever let a job hold you back from traveling and living the life that you wanted to live. You know, I lived in Philadelphia for most of my life, right? 20 plus years of my life. And I took a chance and I moved to Houston, Texas. Moved out of my home city, my hometown, out of a whim, right? I've just been that type of person, and I suggest that, you know, if you're somebody that finds himself being comfortable or finds himself just getting caught up in the rat race and finds himself just reacting to life and not creating their lives, man, I challenge you to listen to that voice inside that's guiding you, that's telling you to do certain things, to take certain risks, to take certain actions. And, you know, for me, it all started when I started listening to that voice, but that voice only became louder through personal development, right? You have to want different. You have to want to improve. You have to not be satisfied. Like, there has to be a desire there. There has to be a certain level of a sense of purpose behind just you bettering yourself, right? But I recommend, man, take chances. You know, move out of your hometown, move to a new city, man. I moved to Houston, and now I'm in Rio de Janeiro, and then next month I'm going to another country. Stay tuned, right? But that never came from a job. It came from working on myself, right? So I challenge you all to work on yourself, right? Even if it's just an hour a day, whether it's exercising and working out, whether it's reading, whether it's watching, you know, something that just inspires you and motivates you. Now, obviously, motivation isn't enough, but motivation can sometimes be the spark. Okay? So we should be doing something daily that cultivates our personal development, that cultivates us building skills, that cultivates us becoming smarter, that cultivates us, you know, everything that we mentioned, building relationships, everything. That's what we're here for, y'all. Self-actualization, right? Self-actualization. You know, Maslow's hierarchy of needs in terms of what a human being needs and feels fulfilled by is at the bottom. I think I mentioned this before, physiological needs. All right. Then, there's a couple of different types of needs that, lead into relationships, finances, and a few things. But at the very top is self-actualization, right? Which means that you are living in alignment of constantly improving yourself and becoming the best version of yourself, y'all. That's what we're here for. That's our purpose in life. So if you're just getting caught up in a job, you're missing out on so much of life and so much of your purpose, y'all. Right? So again, I want these quotes to stay with you. I want you to dwell on them and think about them. Work harder on yourself than you do on your job. If you work hard on your job, you can make a living. If you work hard on yourself, you can make a fortune. A job pays you for the value of the position. Life pays you for the value of the person. Love y'all, man. I hope this was helpful. I really do. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. And we're going to keep it rolling, man. I love y'all. For everybody that watches these, I don't even do this for y'all, man. I really just do it for me, right? And just to keep my word. And, at the end of the day, living in my purpose of helping y'all, raise your consciousness, your frequency, your vibration, so that we can make this world a better place ultimately, and that you can achieve your goals, your visions, and everything that, life has destined for you. All right? Peace and love, y'all. Until the next one.